Congratulations.
Thank you.
So before we start with questions from the audience, I had a few myself. Tell us kind of where this story came from. How autobiographical is it? Did you experience a relationship like this? What did you draw on from your life into the script?
Yeah, so I didn't move into my ex-boyfriend's apartment building. That didn't happen. But I drew a lot from personal experience and from, college relationship and things like that. But it definitely wasn't verbatim anything. I pulled from personal experiences, and the story came about. I love romantic comedies. It's my favorite genre, and so I knew that I wanted to make a film in that space. And then I was making a short film, and I got hit by a car when I was crossing the street. And then a week later, I got appendicitis, and I had to have surgery. And my brother basically moved into my apartment to take care of me. And while I was recovering, I kind of had this idea of what if it wasn't a brother, but what if the only person who could take care of you when you got hurt was an ex-boyfriend, and why would that happen? So that one little scene in the movie where she hits her head and he takes her to the hospital was kind of where the whole movie came from.
I hope it wasn't too serious, this car accident.
I survived. Physical therapy, and I'm fine.
Right. So you got great performances from your lead actors. We didn't mention at the start of the show, this is Zosia Mamet from Girls, you might recognize, who I think gives a very different performance than her character on Girls. And then Matthew Scheer, who has been in many of Noah Baumbach's recent films. Did you have these actors in mind when you were writing the script, and how did casting come about?
That's a great question. I didn't have really any actors in mind when I was writing. I was really just thinking about the story and kind of thinking of people I know in my real life. And then when I finished the script, I started thinking about actors, and Zosia was the first actor we sent the script to, and kind of did it in the very standard way. We sent it to her agent, and her agent sent it to her, and then I met with her 3 weeks later in New York, and we really hit it off, and I really loved her kind of perspective on the character, and yeah, I just knew she was Diana. And then Matt, it took a little longer to find. I met him in New York, and his agent just showed me his headshot, and I went, yeah, he's so cute and so sweet. And then I met him, and I just fell in love with him immediately. He is genuinely one of the sweetest men I've ever met. Just such a kind person. So it was such a joy working with them both. And before we shot the movie, we did a lot of kind of dates to get to know each other, because I wanted them to know each other and I wanted to know them more. So the first time they met in real life, Zosia and Matt, we kind of reenacted the first date in the movie. So I took them to Central Park, and we went on a boat ride in the park. And Zosia and I showed up wearing this exact same outfit, just completely by chance. We were both wearing overalls. And then so we kind of went on a series of dates to get to know each other.
And did they contribute anything in the writing? Was there any improvisation in the way you work with actors?
Yeah, we did some rehearsals, so I took things from that and added them to the script. And then for certain scenes, like the breakup scene, for example, we had a closed set that day, which means there were only the really essential people were on the set, so that it could be really, not to sound cheesy, but a safe space. And have them feel like they could just be really vulnerable. And so on that day we did a lot of rehearsing on the day and kind of figured out a rhythm that felt right for them and for me. And so once we kind of figured that out via a lot of improv, we landed on the dialogue that we liked and then did the coverage from that. And
one of the aspects of your film that I really like is this notion about can men and women be friends or not, which, when Harry Met Sally obviously deals with a lot. And I was wondering, what are some of your influences in the romantic comedy genre?
Yeah, I love When Harry Met Sally, and You've Got Mail, and Annie Hall, and Manhattan, and Something's Gotta Give, and Father the Bride. I could go on and on.
Right. So
Prime, more. That was like. Did anyone see Prime with Uma Thurman and Meryl Streep from like 10 years ago? It's really good.
Right. Yeah. So leading into that, what can you take from those films, especially the ones set in the 70s and 80s, into this generation? What's different in dating and relationships? Do you feel that your story speaks to now?
Well, I suppose a lot of things are really, really different, and I kind of decided not to address those things.
All the technology.
Yeah, like technology and online dating. I've never gone on an online date, so it's not something that I have personal experience with, and I also just find it more romantic to watch those movies where there's, classic. It
has kind of a timeless feel to it, your film, I think.
Thank you.
Not using the technology.
I hope so. Yeah, I mean, those are kind of my favorite romantic comedies, so I made a conscious decision to just not have that be a part of it. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's take some questions from the audience. Raise your hand and we'll have a microphone come to you. Don't be shy.
Okay.
What was your inspiration for Amy, the landlord, and did you think about making her role larger, or were you pretty satisfied with where it ended up?
Amy, right. My inspiration for Amy was just I have a lot of older women in my life that I go to for advice that aren't my mom, even though I do go to my mom and my grandmother, but outside of that, outside of my family, I have, mentors that I have friendships with. And I feel like that's not something you see on screen that much. But I think, my friend, I know a lot of my friends, younger friends have, friends of different ages, so it just felt like normal. I don't know, I guess I didn't overthink it too much. It just felt like a normal thing that felt natural to me in the story. I feel happy with her. So the other question was like, did I want to make it bigger? And I guess the tricky thing with subplots is you kind of have to go like all in or not too much, and I think I wanted really to focus on Diana and Ben and then have the other storylines be a little more restrained, so that's why I decided on the balance I did.
What about Ben's parents? Are they based on your parents at all, or?
No.
Because they obviously seem like very quintessential Jewish parents that are very protective of their son, as I can relate to as well.
Yeah. Well, my parents are English, so they're different types of Jews. They're English Jews. And my dad's not Jewish, but my mom is. They were probably based on a lot of my friends' parents and people I've dated parents, but not in a specific, no, like one person, just like loving parents who maybe are a little overprotective.
Right.
We have a question in the back center here.
Yeah, I thought Diana's rival, I don't remember what her name was, the property person, seemed so different from her. Diana's warm and fuzzy and friendly, and this other woman seems to be kind of, I don't know, sort of two-dimensional and shallow and cold, and I was just wondering how you had decided what her character would be like.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that for her character, we're really seeing her through Diana's eyes, and no one is seeing the girlfriend of your ex-boyfriend through clear eyes. You're going in with a very specific opinion of who that person is without really knowing them. So, she isn't getting kind of a fair shake for that reason, because Diana kind of has probably formed an opinion before she should have, like we all do sometimes.
We have another in the back center.
If we were to gamble, do you think this time they're going to make it?
I think the reason I ended it the way I did, which is you don't quite know, is because I think they probably give it a go, but I don't know if they end up together because they're young and maybe they will and maybe I won't, and I kind of like the idea that whoever is watching it can project what they want onto it.
Should we take a poll? Those who think they're going to stay together, raise your hand. And those who think it's never going to work, raise your hand. Well, that was brave of you to.
We have another front center question here.
Hi, I have seen Zosha's sister sing here in San Francisco. She gave a lunchtime concert at UCSF that I went to, and I was blown away by her talent. And then I didn't realize that she had a sister who was an actress. Now I'm completely blown away by this woman's talent. So I don't really have a question except like, what's up with this family that they are so amazingly talented? I mean, really, I've never seen an acting style like that before. And I seriously just completely loved it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, she's crazy talented. I've never seen her sister sing, but now I'm going to have to look her up and check it out. Yeah, Zosha is a gem.
Over here.
Thank you so much. There were two things that leapt out at me by their absence, and one of them you talked about, which was the absence of tech. Thank you for addressing that already. The other one is the absence of much physicality. And I'm wondering if that was similarly a conscious choice on your part, or what your thinking was, or no, it just wasn't relevant to your view.
Yeah, I think it just didn't feel necessary for this story. I think part of, with the flashbacks, it's also her kind of memories of what happened, and I don't know, I guess in my mind she's not flashing back to like graphic sex, you know? She's flashing back to these more like sentimental moments. And so it was a decision that I made just because I felt it didn't need it. Yeah, I just felt that the story didn't need it.
And
but, you know,
was the
next time.
In the script, was it written to be kind of going back and forth, or did you find that rhythm in the editing room?
No, it was very much in the script, yeah. So pretty much every flashback is where it was in the script, except for one that I moved. I can't even remember which one it was, but everything else was placed.
Question in the back right.
Thank you. What neighborhoods in New York did you film in, and how did you choose those?
We shot the hero location, the apartment building in Fort Greene in Brooklyn, and we found that just through, we had a great location manager, and we had a different location that dropped out a few days before shooting, and then found that one at the last minute, and it was perfect, which was great. And then we did the parents' stuff in Westchester, so a little upstate. We did Prospect Park in Brooklyn and Washington Square Park. So we did a little bit like Soho area. And then we did like the hospital stuff in Queens. We were really like, and we went to the Bronx. I think we did every borough plus Westchester. Yeah, we got around.
We have another question in the front center.
Did you intend for it to have like a girls-ish-esque vibe? Like, because she's starring in that, Zosha?
No. I mean, I love Girls. I think it's a great show and is wonderful. But that wasn't, that definitely wasn't an intention. If anything, I was like, ooh, I hope that it doesn't immediately have that connotation, which is, it's fine that it does, it's natural. But with Zosha in it, because obviously that's a natural connection for people to make. But no, I was very much trying to do like my own thing.
Another front center.
Hi, were there any scenes that you had to cut from the film, and could you talk about what those were, if so?
Yeah, we didn't cut that much, to be honest, because we had a really tight schedule. So most of the editing of scenes came in pre-production. Like there was a whole extra storyline where she changes jobs and goes to work in an office, and that just had to be cut because we couldn't afford it. But the Prospect Park first date boat scene was longer, and we ended up cutting it in half just because it felt better ending it where we did. There's like one scene where she's in the bathroom crying, but it didn't make it in just because it wasn't really necessary. But mostly everything else is in there.
Another down here in the center.
Hello, I thought it was very endearing. I wish I had more downstairs neighbors like that young man. I love that you had the great comic romantic tradition that so many times if they just said something, it would all work, but they didn't. They didn't say what they were thinking, and we're waiting. It's like, just say it, and we'll, have a happier scene. But no, they walked away without having said what they meant to. That prolonged the drama. And I love that there were sort of karmic things that kept happening, like the realtor, if that was a fluke. I mean, she was sort of a wonderfully funny bitch. Sorry. But I liked that, she managed to bring this girl into this apartment, and then that was above her old boyfriend, and so it all was kind of connected in a slightly mystical way. So all of these things I appreciate.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we had a question over here. Oh, and I also want to take this opportunity to welcome everyone in the audience to the reception afterwards. Whether you're a pass holder or not, join us in the mezzanine for some wine and snacks. Where? On the mezzanine, up the stairs.
Sorry. Is religion, like the main character's religion, supposed to be known / part of the plot, or maybe a potential issue with their relationship?
No.
Because I don't think it's identified, or like...
Sorry?
It's not known.
The main characters?
Yeah, like Zasha's.
Yeah, I mean, she's Jewish, but...
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But no, it wasn't a decision. It's not a conflict for them at all. Yeah. He just happens to be Jewish, and she just happens to be Jewish, but it's not... Yeah, she is, but,
Back right here.
Hi, thanks so much. I really enjoyed it. I
Thanks.
loved the funny waiter with the no lemon except for the risotto. That was just a really clever, funny bit. Can you talk about where that came from?
Yeah, thank you. It's a really boring answer, but that was just in the script, and then he said the lines. Yeah, I think there wasn't improv, but yeah, I just thought it was like I wanted that scene to be a moment where he is kind of starting to fall in love with her again, even though he doesn't really want to, and watching her frustration with the waiter is like a way to do that. Yeah, but I'm glad you liked that scene. I like it too. Thanks.
One more in the front center.
Is there going to be a part 2 in London?
No. That would be fun. Maybe I'll think about it. But nothing as of yet, no.
We have a back right question here.
Hi, great job.
Thanks.
This is more of like a logistical question. I read that you went to NYU Tisch, and I'm just wondering if you met your producers there, or sort of how that part works.
Yeah. I met my producers at childbirth because it's my brother. My brother produced my movie, and his producing partner went to NYU with him, so they met at NYU, and I also met the other producer at NYU, and then and they came on when I finished the script. I think I kind of made him, But I met a lot of other people who were involved in the movie at NYU, like Gabby, the girl who plays Gabby, who's one of my best friends. I met her at NYU, and she was in 2 of my short films. A bunch of the crew went to NYU. So there was definitely like a community coming out of that helped.
Another back center question.
Love the film, thank you. What are you working on next?
Thank you so much. I'm writing another script that I'm on page 53 of. And we'll hopefully, I'd love to make it next year. It's kind of in the same vein, but a little bit older, and it's set in Italy. So, you know, hopefully someone wants to help me make that. We'll see.
All right, I think that's about all the time we have. Let's thank Sophie again.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you all for coming, and you're welcome to join us for the reception upstairs as well. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.